Monsieur le Chancelier, j'ai l'honneur de vous présenter Madame Olivette Otele, dont nous célébrons l'illustre carrière universitaire et les réalisations dans la lutte pour la justice sociale. Née au Cameroun, Olivette Otele détient un doctorat en histoire de l'Université Paris IV, la Sorbonne, en France. Historienne, elle a elle-même marqué l'histoire. À sa nomination à l'Université de Bath-Spa en 2018, elle est devenue la première professeure d'histoire noire du Royaume-Uni. Most recently, the School of Oriental and African Studies at the University of London named her as a distinguished research professor, a position created to help address the global challenges defined by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. She is renowned for contributions to the study of colonial and post-colonial history, memory, politics, and women's issues, and the histories of people of African descent. In 2020, the London-based History Lab created the Olivette Otele Paper Prize, open to Black UK-based PhD students, to recognize her impact and address the inequities faced by Black scholars in academia. And among other accolades, her most recent monograph, African Europeans, An Untold History, was shortlisted for the Oral Book Prize for Political Writing in 2021. Monsieur le Chancelier, au nom du Conseil d'administration et du Sénat, j'ai le privilège et l'honneur de vous présenter Madame Olivette Otele afin que vous lui décerniez un doctorat en droit honoris causa.
It is my great pleasure to ask Dr. Otele to address the convocation.
Mr. Chancellor, Madam Chairwoman of the Board of Governors, Mr. President and Vice Chancellor, honored platform guests, graduating class, family and friends. You've heard about my achievements, part of my journey. You've heard about the glossy parts of things, but I would like to share with you what went on, so to speak, behind the scenes. I was born on the edge of the rainforest in Cameroon, Central Africa. I grew up in Paris, but what very few people know is that I became an orphan at a young age and was the oldest of 5 children. A lot was expected and rested on my shoulders quite early. But I did have a secret weapon, my grandmother. She was a woman who had a tough life, a tough marriage that she managed to get out of. She raised 4 teenage daughters alone with very little money. She took us in when our mother died at the age of 35. My grandmother loved us immensely. That unconditional love is probably why my siblings and I, and my brother Bob Paulin is up here, why my siblings and I do rarely suffer from the imposter syndrome. She taught me that rich or poor, immigrants or not, as a Black woman who will face hardship, I belong to where I decided to belong to, whether I was loved by people in those places or not. I was a full citizen of this planet. She was a healer, she was an environmentalist who taught us a few things that I would like to share with you. The first one is the value of kindness and compassion. When I was a teenager, she met a young white man who was 19 years old. He was on the streets of Yaoundé in Cameroon, the capital. He had left Canada, yes, Canada. Traveled to Europe, a backpacker who became stranded to Cameroon with no passport, no money. He was basically homeless. He had broken up with his family and was deeply troubled. She took him in, she fed him, she gave him time to heal, made him part of our family by allowing him to sleep for days, cry for days, and days and weeks turned into months. And 2 years later, he was ready to contact the embassy and go back home. She taught him about learning to sit still, to observe life, pain, the beauty in the mundane and in small things in life. The sun, the wind, the smiles, the nature. She did it because she considered that we all need a helping hand, a break from time to time. The value of kindness is towards others, but also towards ourselves. So, graduates, you are your best friend. Only you will ever know what is in your heart and soul. So you need to learn to take care of that human inside you. You, he, she, him, her, they, matters to the universe, to this planet, in ways that are beyond your very own feelings about yourself. I don't know you, but I do know in my core that you matter to me as a human being in this room sharing these moments with me. The second lesson I learned from my grandmother was the value of hard work. I told you about the young Canadian. Well, I was, as focused as I found myself in a similar situation, poor and yet unfocused and lost. After the baccalaureate in Paris, I was expected to join university, and given the responsibility of the siblings I had, I was expected, as a good immigrant, I might add, to do either medicine or banking or business. The problem was that I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I loved literature and history, but these were not seen as a good career option to make money. Here I was, the oldest of 5, expected to have a job that made money and look after my siblings. I felt trapped, I felt tired, and by that time I had already been working several jobs while studying, from fitness instructor, believe it or not, to tour guide. I decided to travel, to work and travel, small jobs, waitressing, meet people, learn from life, and long story short, I ended up having 3 gap years. Now, I'm not saying you should do that. What I'm saying is do learn to be compassionate towards yourself, patient towards yourself and others. Life is not a race, but a journey. Sometimes family had made sacrifices for you to succeed, but the harvest they are expecting might not be immediate. However, there is always a harvest if supported by hard work in everything you do. Between gap years, I did a degree in business and management of luxury hotels. I hated every second of it. So, at the age of 25, or 24 rather, and half, I went back to university to follow my dreams, history and literature. And then I became a mother at 31 years old, as a doctoral student as well, at the time when most people have finished their doctorate. I'm not going to lie, it was hard having a child and studying, but I did it anyway. Not because I'm a superhuman, no, but because I allowed people to help me. I learned to be patient, and I learned patience from my son, Idris, who is now 20 years old and is with me here today. I learned that I mattered, whether I had a successful career or not. I was part of this planet, this earth, and deserved every moment on it. So hard work will help you in so many ways. You will find that you have the capacity to endure much more than you ever thought you could. You are graduating, so I'm actually preaching to the choir. I'm assuming you worked really hard, didn't you? Now, I would like to throw a challenge at you, the first one. I would like you to approach your next big task the same way. Give it all you have. Test your limits, your ability to push your own boundaries, and see what happens. You'll find out how just amazing you are, and don't just take my word for it. Try it, test it. The third point I learned from my grandmother is to expect to see greatness and beauty from yourself and others. There is no such thing as mediocre lives. Every single one person on this planet has done something wonderful, even mean people. The key is seeing it, recognizing it, acknowledging it. So your next challenge is either to put it in your diary or on your phone, to write every single day what you did, or someone did that brought you relief, a smile, or utter joy. Just one thing, and at least one thing every day. You will realize by the end of the week just how incredible, seemingly little things exist around you in what you have accomplished. And we are sometimes so caught up in our own stressful lives that we don't see them. Greatness is in the little and big things. A successful life, I believe, is your ability to enjoy small and big moments in your life. I would like to conclude on the next challenge. Yeah, I do like those. Find that one thing you think you can't do, but want to try. You can't be talking to the person you really dislike. You can't be trying that job you want to apply to but believe you will not get. It can be reconnecting with a friend, with parents. It can be giving out some of your very hard-earned cash. It can be stepping up, trying something without knowing where it will lead you. But, and this is the most important point here, your measure of success is not whether you get that thing or whether that person ends up liking you. The measure of success is getting out of your comfort zone. I can guarantee you that this is an exercise that teaches you just how adaptable, resourceful, and resilient you are. It is also a humbling experience. Finally, graduates, as you leave this place, some of you know exactly what they want to do. Others may not know. I would like you to consider two things. What you consider failure is a possibility, just as much as success. Success, however, has at its core working hard, harder, the hardest for what you set your mind to. Success is also about taking your time, my 3 gap years, failing, reflecting, getting back up, getting out of your comfort zone, trying again, learning, sharing, and most importantly, giving back to others, always. Concordia, I am now yours just as much as you're mine, right? Let's not stop here, but find ways to make equality a widespread reality together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Otele. Thank you for sharing your journey. Thank you for sharing your inspirational remarks with respect to hardship, overcoming it, kindness, compassion, empathy, and how it all makes for a whole person with a great, successful life. I congratulate you in many, many ways. Thank you.